Let's get one thing straight. You're not the architect of the universe. You don't control the timing. You don't choose the obstacles. You don't get to rearrange the chessboard of life. But guess what? That doesn't excuse you from the game. Just because you're not God doesn't mean you get to act like a victim. You don't get to fold your arms, cry about your situation, and say, "It's out of my hands." That's loser talk. That's what the weak do. You're responsible for how you move, how you respond, and how you show up when everything's uncertain. You weren't built to have all the answers. You were built to handle the unknown. That's the whole point. You want life to be safe, predictable, controlled. Go get a desk job, clock in, clock out, and waste the gift of your potential. But if you want to live a life that actually matters, if you want to touch power, wealth, influence, legacy, understand this. God knows what's next for you, but He's watching how you handle what's now. You're not steering the ship, but you damn sure better learn how to navigate storms. People act like they need permission to be great. They think if God wants it for them, it'll fall into their lap. That's not how it works. You're not responsible for the wind, but you're responsible for how you set your sail. You didn't choose the storm, but you can choose whether it breaks you or builds you. And every second you spend blaming other people, blaming your past, blaming your luck, you're wasting the time you could be using to sharpen yourself into someone who can carry what's coming. Control is an illusion. But responsibility, that's power. Most people don't want responsibility because it exposes them. It forces them to face the fact that their laziness, their indecision, their fear, that's what's holding them back. Not fate, not God's timing, not the economy, not their parents, them. You can't control the season you're in, but you can decide whether you act like a man or a coward in it, whether you turn it into fuel or an excuse. That's on you. God's already written the next chapter. You're not the author, but He's given you the pen to sign your name at the bottom of each page. And what you do right now is the ink. Stop trying to control every variable. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It's never coming. It was never supposed to. The future doesn't belong to the person who has the plan. It belongs to the one who can keep moving when the plan falls apart. When everything is chaos and they still choose discipline, still choose courage, still choose to show up, you are not in control of the outcome. You never were, but you're responsible for the effort, the discipline, the mindset, and the attitude you bring every single day. You're responsible for showing up like it's already yours, even when nothing looks like it's working. Everybody talks about faith like it's some magical potion. They think believing in something is enough to make it happen. They speak big dreams into the air, post motivational quotes, maybe even pray about it a few times, and then they sit back, waiting for the universe or God to hand it to them. That's not faith. That's laziness with a religious mask. That's what people do when they want the reward without the war. Real faith doesn't sit around. Real faith doesn't wait for certainty. It moves without guarantees. It sacrifices comfort, ego, and excuses for something it can't even see yet because it knows something bigger is on the other side. But it moves, it acts, it builds, it works. Faith without action, that's not faith. That's fantasy. That's delusion. It's a cheap way to feel like you're doing something when you're actually doing nothing. You say you believe you're meant for more. Good. Show me. Where's the discipline? Where's the sacrifice? Where's the pain? You think belief alone is going to pull you out of the life you're stuck in. It won't. Belief is the spark, but the fire comes from action, from pushing when it's hard, from getting up early, staying up late, and making decisions that most people are too weak to make. Faith is what gives you the vision. Action is what makes it real. People love the idea of destiny, but they hate the process that builds it. They want to be chosen, but they don't want to choose themselves every day when no one's watching. They confuse hope with hustle, but hope without hustle is worthless. It's a drug. It makes you feel good for a moment, but it never delivers. And if you're not acting on what you claim to believe, you don't really believe it. Period. The truth is, some of you don't have a faith problem, you have a discipline problem. You say God has a plan, but you don't act like it. You say you believe in success, but you don't chase it like it's life or death. You say you want to change your life, but you keep doing the same weak things every day expecting different results. That's not faith, that's fantasil, and you don't need more time. You don't need more signs. You need to move right now with what you've got. Faith is walking forward while your knees are shaking, while people are doubting, while nothing looks like it's working, but you keep swinging. You keep showing up. You keep sharpening your skills, leveling up your mindset, dominating the little things while everyone else is distracted by comfort and convenience. Everybody wants to talk about trusting the process, but most of you haven't even earned the right to say that phrase. Because trusting the process means you're actually in it, bleeding in it, sacrificing for it, staying in the fire when it hurts, when it's slow, when it's lonely, not tweeting about it, not journaling about it, living it daily with intensity, with grit, with zero backup plan. Everyone wants elevation, but no one wants the pressure that comes before it. They want the rewards without the resistance, the spotlight without the sacrifice. The truth is, you don't get promoted in life without passing through the fire first. Your struggle right now, the pain, the stress, the setbacks, the silence, that's not the enemy. That's the exam room. That's life testing you to see if you're even capable of handling what you're asking for. People cry out for greatness, but they quit when things get uncomfortable. That's the disconnect. You think you're ready for the next level, but you're folding under level 1 pressure. You want more money, more status, more power, but you complain when things get hard. You think you're being punished, but you're actually being prepared. The pain isn't proof that you're off track. It's proof that the next level is close, and life is trying to see if you've got the strength to step into it without falling apart. Understand something. Struggle is the filter. Everybody can talk. Everyone can post a quote, look motivated, wear a suit, say they've got vision. But when the heat comes, when life stops playing fair, when you're tired, broke, betrayed, or overlooked, that's when the real ones get separated from the talkers. Struggle reveals who's serious and who's soft, who's actually building something and who's faking it for attention. You're not just going through it, you're being measured, you're being shaped, you're being refined. And most people don't realize that the delay, the disappointment, the opposition, all of it is designed to prepare them for what they say they want. You want the throne, prove you can survive the battlefield. You want leadership, prove you can keep composure when everything around you is chaos. You want the crown, prove you won't collapse under the weight. You don't become strong in the comfort zone. You don't become elite when things are easy. Every beast you admire, every top-tier performer, every real winner was born in the struggle, not around it, through it. They bled in the shadows. They kept showing up when it was boring, when it was humiliating, when it was hopeless, and they didn't beg for shortcuts or sympathy. They kept swinging. That's why they're standing on platforms now. They passed the test most people weren't even willing to sit through. What you're fighting right now isn't random. It's not bad luck. It's not a mistake. It's custom, designed to expose your limits and force you to outgrow them. That heartbreak, that loss, that pressure. It's the furnace. You're either going to break in it or break out of it better. Most people never get promoted because they run from the very thing that's trying to build them. They want ease, but ease never produces elevation. Struggle is the currency. Pressure is the proving ground. Everybody wants destiny. Everybody wants that chosen life, the money, the influence, the peace, the power. They say they're called for something great. They say they feel purpose burning in their chest. But when you look at their life, it's soft, it's sloppy, it's all talk, no execution. They mistake desire for destiny. They confuse talent with transformation. And they miss the one thing that separates the ones who rise from the ones who rot: discipline. Destiny doesn't show up for the dreamer who can't master their own mind. Destiny doesn't land in the lap of the lazy. Destiny doesn't care how gifted you are if you don't have the guts to grind for it every single day. Discipline is the key, period. It's the bridge between potential and power. Without it, you're just another loud mouth with a vision board and no results. Discipline makes you dangerous. Discipline makes you inevitable. You want to know who ends up winning: the one who can suffer on schedule, the one who can show up when motivation dies, the one who can stare at distractions and say no, because they're locked in on what's ahead. Discipline is the quiet force that most people ignore because it's not sexy, it's not flashy, it doesn't get likes, it doesn't feel good, but it builds what nothing else can. When life is unpredictable, when emotions shift, when everything seems out of control, discipline keeps you steady. Sharp, focused, it keeps you moving forward while everyone else is falling apart. Destiny doesn't belong to the most talented. It doesn't belong to the most spiritual. It belongs to the most consistent. It favors the one who's willing to wake up early, train when they're tired, study when they're stressed, grind when they're doubted, and still move like a killer when no one's clapping. Most people want to be chosen, but they can't even choose discipline for 7 days straight. They want greatness, but can't go 1 week without distractions owning them. That's why destiny passes them by, not because they weren't called, but because they weren't committed. Discipline is what proves you're ready. It's how you respect the vision. You say God gave you a calling. Show me in your habits. Show me in how you manage your time. Show me in how you treat your body,